If you were listening before the break, you'll have heard us play out the piece that we recorded at the Active Souls session on Monday. I'm delighted to be joined by Mikey Haslett, who put the whole thing together. You are responsible for Active Souls, aren't you, Mikey?
I am.
How did it all come about then?
That's a really good question. I was away for 2 years between 2015 and 2017, sort of traveling the world. And during those travels, I kind of had a few ideas in terms of what I wanted to do when I came back. And the idea just revolved and revolved. And a few years ago before I left, I had this idea. I was at a staff training for when I was coaching, and I realised how much fun all of the coaches were having playing Stuck in the Mud or these really basic games. And when I came back, something just clicked, and I just thought, why aren't we playing more games? I know I love these games. I think people will love these games, and why don't I just find out and kind of see where it takes me? And it's really just snowballed from there. The first session I did was in literally the worst weather imaginable, and I had 10 hardy souls come out in January, friends and family, and I just kind of said, this is roughly what I'm thinking. I've got some balls, let's just go with it and see what happens. And the end result is Active Souls 6 months later. And
it is growing from strength to strength, isn't it? Sort of, and I mean, on the Monday night session, which is one of the weekly sessions, there's like 15 to 20 people there. Last night, how many people were active soulsing last night?
We had, I think it was 38 last night. We had a couple of teams down from PokerStars to come out and give it a go, give the whole concept a go and provide some feedback. And it was absolute carnage. They were incredibly competitive during the dodgeball as well. They'd already organised their own teams to compete against the different departments in the business. And it was absolute carnage, but so much fun. I couldn't stop smiling throughout the session, just seeing all of these people laughing and enjoying themselves so much.
I guess it's a great release, isn't it, from the office as well. So getting corporates on board is great, because if you've been sat in your chair all day long and then you get to go play tag or something, or just brilliant. So they really embraced it.
Absolutely. They were in from the word go, and they didn't really have much of an idea about what they were signing up to either before they arrived. So it was quite nice to kind of explain the whole concept and then just get them playing within sort of 5 minutes of them being there. So it was really, really fun.
And you mentioned as well, I've got to pick up on something that was in the recorded piece there, because as was highlighted by Lorcan, there is an element of the people involved kind of making up their own rules, but that just sort of adds to the fun, doesn't it?
Absolutely. Like I said, there's varying different types of play personalities, and some of those are not necessarily physical expressions. Some of them are more creative. They are more direct. The director, for example, likes to control things, likes to make sure that everybody's in line, or the cones are all in line, or that everybody's playing their part. There's also people who are more like storytellers, so they like to really engage with games where there's a bit of a storyline, the knights and the dragons and stories like that. And so that's my role in the session, is to allow that to come out and not to be there as like an instructor and be like, no, this is the game, these are the rules, and I'm a referee. Yeah. The softer side has to come out from the group, and so it's for me to stand back and kind of let that happen. And that's where some of the absolute magic happens, when the likes of Lorcan are there and he's coming up with his own rules or changing the rules every 3 seconds because he's not winning anymore.
It's not fair.
It's not fair is a classic, but it really allows the players to kind of fully immerse themselves in the game rather than just being part of a moving piece.
And one of the things I love about all of this that we're talking about now is, and I know you can't avoid the fact that obviously a lot of our lives are led online now, and there is that sort of the nature of sort of connecting with people and communicating with people online, which in a lot of ways is great because it means we can stay in touch with friends and family, and that's fantastic all around the world. But there is also that concern that because of that, we're sort of losing contact with each other, and this is all about bringing people back to that, isn't it?
Absolutely. It breaks down barriers so quickly. I mean, if we use the human knot example from earlier, if you've never met that person, but you're now not only holding hands with two strangers, you've also got somebody's armpit in your face and leg wrapped around your thigh, then, you're trying to work your way out of this human knot, then all of a sudden the barriers are gone. It's completely broken down, and it makes connecting with people so much easier when you've already had that sort of awkward meeting just evaporate during a game like that. And it's the same in a game of say dodgeball, for example. It doesn't matter if you see a target and you're throwing the ball at them, then then it's on. It's game on. You don't need to know them, but all of a sudden that barrier is completely removed. And again, players are so multifaceted. There's so many layers to the benefits of it. When I started sort of researching it and reading up on it, it blew my mind as to why aren't we doing it more? And that kind of gave me the validation that I want to do this. I want to help people play.
How has it changed you then?
I don't know. I'm a little bit more playful. I've always, I put out on my Facebook the other week, like you said, the mover. So that's always been my play personality. I like to move. I'm stimulated by movement. So for me, it's just been an opportunity to move more. My day job as a coach also allows me to do that. So it's kind of, I just sleep better at night. But also the business side of stuff blows my mind. There's so much to consider and work out. And I'm only just 3 months in, so I've got a long road ahead of me, and I think that will be the bit that really kind of changes, trying to structure my days a little bit better and stuff, and manage my time a lot better. But it's definitely for the good. It's going to keep positivity definitely in my life.
And when we mentioned Mindful Mike down at the Engine House earlier as well, it made me think about this. This is kind of a form of mindfulness, isn't it? Because you're totally immersed in the moment, and it gets you out of that crazy scramble of stuff going on in your brain, and makes you, I mean, if you're not concentrating on the game, you're going to lose.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And again, it's another layer of the beauty of play. It's completely mindful. You're involved, immersed in that whole session, that game, that challenge or whatever's been set, and you're completely immersed in it. And it was actually a friend of mine actually mentioned that when she had spoken with Mindful Mike, he had said, I think she's a badminton player, so he kind of said, when you're playing badminton, you are being mindful because that's all you're concentrating on. And it's exactly the same when we play. We are immersed, and for that hour or hour and a half, you are not worrying about the scrawlings that your your beautiful angel child has just done on the kitchen wall. You're not worried about the rubbish day that you've just had, or the problems that your boss put on your desk at the end of the day. It all just evaporates, and hopefully at the end of the session you're in a better place, you're ready to move on.
It's just brilliant. Eric, what do you think? Could you be sold on this? I think we could get this going in Paulson Park next to the Engine House.
I think that's a great idea, to be honest with you. I mean, team building sessions with this would be great, a really good idea. And I think that mindfulness in doing that kind of movement where you just have your competitive spirit out there and you're thinking of nothing else but winning that particular game, I think that is mindfulness, like you're saying.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm going to come back to something you said on your bio, because you sent information over. And I love the fact that you talk about how, you went from being, as you describe it, a below bog standard student in school to being, you were essentially the top of the year in your degree course, and you got the Dean's Award as well. And so obviously something happened to turn your life around to that extent, but also you attributed who you are right now to an extent to a teacher who inspired you to follow your dream. And I love that idea that a person can have that much effect. Just tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, that was my teacher. I'm mixing the names around now. I think I knew her as Miss Norton, but I'm really confused because I also have her on Facebook, so I need to check. But it's either Miss Ewan or Miss Norton. Anyway, Joe Norton. I was all set for a degree in history, mainly because I was kind of all right at it and I quite enjoyed it. And like I said, I had two good teachers at A level, so I was kind of thinking this could be for me. And she kind of just turned around to me one day and was like, "Why are you choosing history?" She was like, all you do is you run, you play football, you're always doing sports, you coach, everything you do is sports, like you're a sports person. Why are you doing something for the next 3 years? Why are you signing up to do something that isn't sports related? And at the time, I kind of just went, that's a fair point. That's a fair point. And so as a result, I changed my choices at university. I picked a great uni down in Cardiff. I had an incredible experience. And that furthered my sort of thought as well in terms of what was possible, and kind of broadened my horizons hugely. And the end result, because I was so engaged, was a much better result than I'd ever imagined at university.
And you're just such an inspiration, really, Jamie, you know, because you're such a positive soul. I know you lost your brother Jamie, obviously, and it was something that was very much in the news at the time, and it was very sudden, and not long after that you lost your father as well. But you've retained this ability to just be so positive about life. I mean, that must have had an impact on you, but you say that you were able to sort of turn that into a sort of positive thing. Yeah,
absolutely. I think it would be a shame to turn it into a negative. Mm-hmm. Especially Jamie, for example, was very, very playful, and I think my mum used to use the term he was all pit or squeak. So he was either all the way up here or all the way down there. But when he was up there, for me, he was incredibly annoying. He knew every button.
Was he older or younger than you?
He was younger. He was a year younger, but we were really close in age. And losing him was obviously very, very difficult at the time for the whole family. But what a waste it would be to take all of that energy that he had and just let it go by the by. And it did change things for me in terms of my appreciation of time. I'm still not able to be on time anywhere, as you found out today. But I really want to make the most of my time, and hopefully, you know, I don't see play as just an Isle of Man based thing. I think this has huge scalability and potentially a legacy. If I can improve the day-to-day life of one person, then it's a success. But I want to take this everywhere, anywhere possible, where I just want everybody to play and kind of bring that spirit effectively of Jamie right the way through.
That is so lovely, and it's wonderful as well because you say how supportive your entire family have been about this whole project now, so they must be so proud of you and what you've done. So if someone is listening to this and they're thinking, I want to be an active soul, what do they do? How do they get involved?
The easiest way is to check us out on Instagram or Facebook. Instagram is _Active Souls, and Facebook is @ActiveSoulsPlay. We've also got a website which is activesouls.co.uk, or just give me a call. All of my details are on those social medias, and I would love to chat to people. It's fun to chat to people on Messenger, you know, and emails come in, but I just love chatting to people about their own experiences of play and finding out what their favourite game is.